Hey guys, and welcome back to another video on the Coach Dave Academy YouTube channel. My name is Matt Emery. We're here for week 11 at the Suzuka circuit in the Porsche Cup Car Series. Let's go on with the hot lap.
So let's get into the hot lap guide then for the Suzuka circuit. So obviously we start down the pit straight here. Want to get to the left as possible, heading down towards turn 1, and then hit the brakes just after we cross this white line at the pit exit, just here. Get the brakes on up to about 45% or so, and then just trail it all the way around here into turn 2 as well. It's all one big corner really. Turn 1 and 2, one big sweep round turn 1. And you can just notice we're holding onto the brake pedal all the way through here, about 20% on the brake. And same with turn 2. Start increasing it a bit here as we get to this curb here. You see to about 35%, 30% now. And as we get towards the curb on the inside, let go of the brake pedal and then start getting on the throttle. It's quite useful, the camber for turn 2. You notice we're quite close to the curb here. Really, really important to make sure you stick close to this curb as you can. You notice the track sort of, there's a nice bit of camber you can use at the apex there. So if you do miss turn 2, you can lose quite a lot of time. So just watch out for that one. And then on the throttle, as early as we can, using all of the track on the exit, flick it back to the right-hand side. Still in 4th gear here, turning in a nice bit of dab of the brake, only about 10 or 15% on the brake pedal. Still in 4th gear, use a bit of the inside curb. And then this section, the S's here in Suzuka really just follow on from each other. It's a bit of a Mickey Mouse section in this car, just because you don't really have the aero. So you're going to be using the brake pedal a lot, just to make sure that you get the car into those apexes, and also the throttle as well to turn on the exits and get that rotation. So yeah, 3rd gear through the second right-hander. On the power, again, just make sure we use all the curbs. Still in 3rd gear here, slight dab of the brake. You just pay attention to this throttle and brake trace here in the middle of my screen. This left-hander, you want to use a bit more of the curb. You can see there's a bit more of sort of concrete or astroturf on the apex, which you can use to just shorten the corner a bit. And then keeping it in 3rd gear here, we take a really early apex for this one, the final one before we go up the hill. So an early apex here, into 3rd gear, let the car run a bit wide just to straighten up the exit, and then get on the power as early as you can. Again, flicking it to the right for the next one. And then slight dab of the brake, about 5%. And then on power again as early as we can. Let the car run out. Not too wide though. If you get on the curb, it's really easy for the car to just run out here and into the gravel. So try not to touch this curb too much. Try and keep it away from the white line. and then the car should just follow the track nicely round. A bit of lock, completely flat this section. Then into the Degnas. Braking then just in line with this 100-meter board on the left-hand side. And then down to 4th gear for the first one. Make sure we take a lot of apex curb to get that rotation. Let the car run out as well. This is really the limit on how far you can go without getting an off-track. But also means you widen the entry for the next Degna. So Degna 2. Down to 3rd gear. Hold it in 3rd on the apex. Use all the curb on the inside that you can. And then again on the power as early as we can, using all of the exit curb as well. Again, don't really want to be going too much further than this, just to avoid the off track as well. Then we head towards the hairpin. Completely flat around here, and then slamming the brakes about halfway through, just as we come around the right-hander. You do have for your braking reference this sign on the left-hand side, although I think it's quite hard to see when you're actually inside the car, but that would be your reference to use. Other than that, there's not really too much you can use to, as your braking reference. Make sure we're not using too much of the brake pedal, just so we avoid any lockups on the way in. And then you notice we're veering off the corner again, so going in quite narrow, not using all of the track. You notice there's quite a bit of camber you can use again at the apex, similar to turn 1 and turn 2. But yeah, down to 1st gear. Get all your rotation done on the apex. You can see we're completely full lock here. Using a lot of the brake pedal all the way to the apex. Down to 1st gear. And then on the power as early as we can as well. Straighten the car up and use all of the exit curb as well. We'll just go into Delta just to see what that looks like in a bit more detail. So this is what the hairpin looks like in the Delta app, guys. So as usual, you've got your Delta here, you've got the speed trace, throttle, brake, and steering. So you can see we've got a nice smooth arch on the brake pedal, as we usually do in this car, just to make sure we don't lock up the tyres and overheat them, because they're quite sensitive on iRacing. So we ramp up slowly to about 60% at the hairpin, and as I said, that's just to avoid any locking. Just make sure with the camber on the apex that the front left becomes a bit unloaded, so it's easy to lock up. If you are struggling with that, then obviously move your brake bias to the rear slightly with locking on the front. But yeah, really smooth, and then we come off it slightly here, down to about 20%, and then just keeping a nice bit of brake pressure all the way around the apex, get to about the halfway point, and then we start getting on the throttle. So you can see we have an initial stab on the throttle to about 50%, just to get the rotation on the exit. And then once the car is fully straight, we full throttle it, use all of the outside curb, and you can see the full steering lock we use at the apex as well. As usual, you can use this to compare to your hot laps for the whole lap. Just see where you're losing any time and see where you can get some advice from this lap. But yeah, back on with the video. Heading up towards the spoon curve, just try and keep this as straight on the wheel as you can. Try to not scrub off too much speed. Follow the inside here with the curb on the right hand side, and then spot your braking zone just in front of this piece of tarmac here and just after this curb. Again, a bit of a tricky one to spot your braking zone on, but with a bit of practice you'll get quite used to it. Down to 3rd gear for the first apex, not using too much curb to unsettle the car. Back on the power briefly, run it out to this outside curb as well, and you're braking on that curb as we head towards the second part of the spoon curve. And then on the power again as early as you can. The rear likes to get really unstable here, so just watch out for that one. Don't want to be, spinning up your rears too much in the race. And it's easy to have a moment. You can see the car gets away from us slightly there, so we just have to correct it. And then again, just watch the track limits on the exit. Can get us a off track for that, so just watch out for that one. And then heading towards 130R, take again the shortest line that you can, and then flick it to the right hand side just to open up the next one. And then in a lot of cars you don't have to brake for this one, but as we don't have, as I said at the start, too much aero to use, this car does depend on the brake pedal a bit more than the others, so for like the prototypes and the Formula cars, for example. So heavy on the brakes just before this 50-meter board on the right hand side, slight dab of the brake, about 30% or so, and then let the car run out to the curb on the outside, flick it back towards the left, and then heavy braking zone, one of the heaviest on the track, about 80% on the brake pedal, down to 2nd gear, clip the first apex, make sure you use all of this curb that you can, just to make sure you get the rotation, then flick it left for this one, again using all of the curb we can, all of this AstroTurf on the inside, and then straighten the car up, and keep it as short as you can to the inside, especially in qualifying, and that completes the lap of the Suzuka circuit. So that was the hot lap guide then for the Porsche Cup car at the Suzuka circuit for week 11. My name's Matt Emery. We've been with Coach Dave Academy. Obviously, check out the data packs all on our website, coachdaveacademy.com, and check out all the latest hot lap guides on our YouTube channel as well. But I will see you next week, guys, for week 12. It should be the final week of the season. I'll see you then. Take care.